The name of the show is The Way to Go. My name is Alan Bendich. I'm going to be your host. And our guest tonight is Max Bendich, my dad. Hi, Pop.
How are you, son?
Not only my dad, but the star of Waiting, Scriptless MD, and a whole bunch of short films that he did prior to working with me.
Thank you.
That's it.
It's, for me, it's good to hear that all the time.
Right. And I wasn't going to talk about it, but it's a great honor. I had the honor of winning the best series in 2014 for this show, The Way to Go. And I still have that plaque, and I look at it, and I'm so proud of it. And it meant a lot to me because, you know, the show initially was my father-in-law's, Norman Liss. My father-in-law had the same show, or the same name for a show in back in the 80s, and maybe even into the 90s, and then he passed away in the 1990s. So I just remember going up to Eric one day at a barbecue and asking him, you know, if I could have a show. That was back in 2012, and The Way to Go started then, and now this is our 132nd episode of the show, which is pretty cool. And you've been on over almost 70 of them. So, and we have the honor this year also of being nominated for Best Series for another show that I created, which is called Scriptless, which you're the star of, Pop. Yeah. So what do you think of that?
I love it. I love it. Why? Maybe you deserve it. Not maybe. I mean, we will find out.
Right.
And you're building, you are learning and building yourself up at the same time.
Right. And it's good. It's and as I said in the last episode, you know, the real true good feelings and benefit and the real winning is actually doing it, being able to have the volunteers working with you, the actors working with you, to follow you, you know, to continue with you, to grow. And that to me, I mean, it changed my life. You know, this whole opportunity that LMC TV has provided for you, for me, for everyone. I mean, all the camera people. I mean, you know, we could look at Lawrence, William, Andre, we have Matt, you know, all these people. Everybody that's ever worked on the show, you know, has gotten something out of it. I hope they have.
And the whole thing is because of your father-in-law.
That's it.
And
that's the truth.
I know, please, I know. And because he started it,
right.
And you saw there was a possibility that you could keep on
right.
building on what he had to say. And you were building it up, building it up, building it up.
But you can't build up on something that doesn't exist. So the idea that through circumstance and luck, as you always talk about, I decided to go to a picnic that LMC TV was providing, and I just asked a question, and Eric said yes, and then I asked another question, and Dina said yes, and it was like, and then all of a sudden I realized, okay, things can be done. You know, it's not like something like, it's not an imaginary thing that people could do. You know, you know, it takes work. You know,
it takes work, and so far, I hope you're my son. Everything is fine. You don't overwork yourself. Again, I see something maybe that you don't see. You see something that I don't see, and I'm wondering, when are you going to slow down?
Well, I think I don't see myself slowing down. I think eventually, you know, I'm 60. I'm going to be 61 on my next birthday. I'd like to retire as soon as I can get 100% of Social Security. I'll be honest. So that means I have to work another 5 years. Okay. After that, I don't think I'm going to want to work anymore.
All right.
And all I want to do is continue with, you know, knock wood or whatever, you know, just continue doing this stuff, because the work allows me, you know, pays the bills.
Yeah.
But working, being on shows at LMCD is the pleasure in my life. So at some point, I want to be able to just focus on the pleasure and forget a little bit about the work. Because this kind of work, it's a labor of love. That's the one thing. I mean, it is labor, but it's a labor of love. Whereas the work that I do in my regular job, it's work. You know, I enjoy doing it. I get a sense of accomplishment, but I don't come back feeling like, wow, that was a great spreadsheet I did. Wow, that audit was fantastic. You know, you want to see the numbers. You know, I don't do stuff like that. But when I do something that I enjoy, my film or whatever, I like sharing that with people,
And the family, my daughter-in-law, and your children,
Right.
they are all together. They are part of you also.
Right.
And they are
They're part of every story. No, they're there. Wendy is totally supportive, my wife. The kids.
That's it.
The kids love the idea that they like to see their father happy.
Yeah.
And the thing that makes him the happiest is when he's working on films and television and stuff like that. I mean,
But
that's
so
just-
far we haven't put the family. I think this is the first time that I brought
Right.
that the family. I think you should even talk about it because
Right.
the
Well, I'll tell you,
family.
they are supportive. One
They're
thing,
supportive. That's
Right.
the word. I can't remember the word.
It's okay. It's only a word. It doesn't matter. But I know what you were saying. They're very supportive because they want me to be happy. And they see that I work like a dog. I'm working 10 hours a day.
That's
It takes
what
me
I'm-
3 hours back and forth from work, to go to work. And I work, in Worth Street all the way downtown. And so for 13 hours a day, I'm stuck either going to work or working or coming home. Those are the three things. So for the other 11 hours, I'm sleeping hopefully about 7, so that leaves me 5 hours, which is probably less, and that's split between the morning getting ready and the night going to sleep. So I'm up maybe for about 2 hours or 2.5 hours after I get home from work. And then I have to go to sleep because I have to wake up again to go through that whole 13-hour cycle. So the one thing that breaks up the monotony and gives me a license to leave work early is the way to go. And the weekends, once a month when we shoot Scriptless or the short films, those are the things that I live for because that's when I can be transformed into something outside of the ordinary, and gives me the thing that I could create, and everyone should have that experience.
But I think, again, you're right. But we have never talked about this, about the family.
Right, the family.
The family, again.
It's right. The other thing about okay, let's go through the family. I'll say one thing. I understand what you're saying. It's a sacrifice. Doing this show, maybe not so much because it's our Friday night that we're shooting this.
Mm-hmm.
So if we shoot on a Friday night, maybe I could go out to dinner with my wife or something like that. So that's a slight sacrifice. When I shoot Scriptless, it's a full day of shooting on Sunday. So what happens, and then the other aspect of it is the editing. If I am working all week, the only time I have to edit is on Saturday. So there's the time that's spent, but it's time that's spent that I don't look at it as time, like I don't look at it as work. I don't look at it as like something that's, oh God, I gotta go to edit. I think, oh God, I'm gonna edit, and we're gonna see some shows that we did. I can't wait to see that, It's not like, oh God, I have an audit coming, So it's time spent positively, It's a learning thing. It's the part of life that's sweet.
Now, as long as we never talked about this,
Yes.
but is that going to help the future? Now again, remember talking about this.
What future?
We're getting it a little older now.
Right.
I mean, of course, meaning the future of that, but it'll help us lead a different, easier life than we are doing.
No.
Well, that's what I'm going to say.
I don't see. I just think that what it's going to do is it's going to help me cope with getting older.
That's part of our.
I think what it does is it gives me an opportunity to work with young people, as we're doing here. We have Andre again, we have William, we have Lawrence, we have Dina, all these young people that we're working with. And to be in a creative environment with young people and to hopefully learn from them and hopefully they learn from you, it's a beautiful thing,
And this is what I wanted to tell you, what I told you, because of the young people, you're working with the young people.
Right.
And
the older you get, everybody's younger. So
yeah, I know. Wait,
look at you. You're 101. Everybody's younger.
That's it. Everybody's. And I feel, Alan, you don't know, I feel good, Alan, when I see that, even though many times I go by the NYU or I go there and I said, I was there one time and I was there one time. Alan, to work with young people, younger, not to be with younger people in the same industry.
Right.
And you know what they have to go through. Maybe they don't go through.
Well, I told you, that some people go through terrible times because they have, actors, real actors, people who are like dedicated to their craft and, If they have a job or they have acting, forget about the job. They're going to do their acting. They're going to find the time to do their acting. So some of those people are having tough times financially. I mean, really tough times.
That's it.
Because it's a difficult road to go down. Whereas I do it in my, in quotes, spare time, which is really, spare time means you're taking it away from your family, you're taking it away from this, you're taking it away from that. It's how you prioritize. That was a word you used to use, and we used that as one of the episodes of Scriptless was priorities, because you always talked about it. But to me, my priorities, my physical health is definitely my priority, but my mental health is also a very important priority. And one of the things that makes me mentally feel good is this creative process of acting and Scriptless and The Way to Go.
And also, a little bit of ending of this and a little bit of ending, that should make you feel good. In other words, this is going to remain there.
Right.
This is going to remain there.
And I have a ton of stories. I mean, I want to go back, as much as I like Scriptless MD, I want to go back to the gangster. I don't know, it's fun. Because I have all these friends who look like gangsters, but they're not, but they just, and it's an interesting dynamic that happens. They're all tough guys, and it's fun. To me, it's a fun genre, this whole, like, trying to be like The Sopranos and stuff like that. So I think the next iteration of Scriptless is going to go back to that, the gangster thing. And you would have had gangster in Scriptless, right? You were the brains behind the whole thing. No, I mean, you were the guy. It was so funny. You were responsible for killing a couple of characters, all this stuff, just by just saying a word.
So, Alan,
yes,
you changed my life, and I think for the better.
Right.
No, I'm serious. I mean, I never in my whole life I never would have thought something like
we've
this.
never had conversations like this.
No.
I mean,
No,
right?
no, but again, I'm happy.
Right.
Why? Because I'm actually helping persons who actually have to be actors or something
Right.
like this. With me, all right, I'm okay or I'm not okay. At my age, eventually it's going to be over.
No, but the interesting thing about you is, because of who you are, you're 101 years old, and you're a good actor. I'm telling you. Once you get into this, as long as you're, I think the key for you is if you're feeling well that day. In other words, if you're not tired. If you're not tired, you're very sharp. And the whole thing about a Scriptless environment is that you have to use your brain, because you're being talked, it's a conversation. And there's no camera, make believe there's no camera. So it's just two people talking, so you have to you have to remember your character, and you have to remember what you're talking about. And you're good at that. Sometimes though, the thing that we fight the most about in terms of, to make sure that you're not tired, because when you're tired, then you should go to sleep. That's the whole thing. And then sometimes when we're shooting, you're tired. And I feel like it's probably not in the best interest for anybody to push you any further. But most of the time, like at least with Waiting, all your scenes were done lying down in bed because you were dying. And you were awesome. I mean, but you said at the end of that, even though you were lying down in bed, it was one of the most exhausting things you ever did. First of all, you were in a lot of scenes. Mm-hmm. And you were the star of the show. So, and I can't wait for it to be seen, and it will be. By the time you see this, it'll be on the air for LMC TV, so other people will have a chance to have seen it. And it's called Waiting, and it's our first short film, by the way. So it's really, really exciting. And it should be on the air actually for most of June. So I hope everyone gets a chance to see it.
That's another month.
That's it.
Time goes fast, fella.
I know, I got to get enough. The whole thing about it is that the way I set it up, because, it takes a lot to edit. And then the thing is, I have to go to Astoria to edit every week. And it takes, I'm telling you, when you're working, again, 50 hours a week plus 3 hours, so it's like 65 hours a week between travel and work. And then on Saturday morning, you wake up to edit. It's tough. So what I'm trying to, to get a finished product, to get an episode, it takes a lot.
Okay.
And I mean, so what I have to keep on doing is I got this, the one pressure I have is to edit this stuff. It's easy to film. I mean, for me, it's very easy to get the filming done. The part that's the most difficult is putting it all together in a package, and that's the editing. And that's the most time-consuming part. It's crazy. But that's a labor of love, but it's also like, you know, I got 2 episodes waiting to be shown on LMC TV, which means 8 weeks. I look at everything in terms of an episode's 4 weeks. That means I have 4 weeks to get another episode edited. And so I have 2 episodes that are in the pipeline right now for the next 8 weeks. But that means within those 8 weeks, I got to do at least 1 episode, maybe 2 edited episodes. And that's pressure because, you know, I don't really look at the episodes until it's time to edit. And that might be the wrong thing to do sometimes too, because if you can't go back, you know, you shoot something and say, oh my God, what happened, you know? But it's crazy. But we have a lot of stuff in the can, so we could actually make several, with the stuff we have.
I know it. You're making another picture.
Tons of shows. But it's just a process of sitting down and doing it. And the editing is the toughest part.
But how long do you keep the things that you take out? Meaning
I have everything. I have everything. I never got rid of anything.
You never. That's it.
I had to buy another a 4 terabyte hard drive.
Whatever.
Because every time you edit, you know, you wind up also creating. You know,
No,
I don't throw anything out.
All right. That's.
You know, I keep on buying these more and more hard drives.
And I hope you don't call it cluttering in the house.
No, it's just a box, and a terabyte is what, 1,000 gigabytes. But you'd be amazed with filming how quickly those things fill up. It's like so much, but it's interesting. Everything's interesting. And then sometimes we're both exhausted, Jim and I, when we're editing, and we're trying to find one of our files and we can't find it, and it's like, ugh. But it's just too much. But it's fun. It's fun. You know when it's fun? When all of a sudden you're watching an episode and you realize, oh God, you know, like even inadvertently, you wind up realizing that part of the show, that's another. It ties in exactly to something that happened that it should. When there's a storyline that continues through a whole season, which it's supposed to, and it happens, it's like, it's almost like wow, you know. And like Jim would say, wow, that's like. I can't believe it. You said that, and that was something we talked about 2 episodes ago. You know, so it's there are certain things that happen that you don't even realize are happening. But again, all the stories came from my head, so I had the storyline in my head all those times. It's interesting. I don't know. I never thought I was going to be creative. That's the other thing. I always considered myself not creative. I considered all my friends creative. All my friends were musicians. Even though I played piano, I never considered myself a musician. The people who were musicians were the people that could sit down with a guitar and just play anything, you know, and be able to sit down at a piano and just play anything. I could only play what I could read. And I always was jealous, I'll be honest, with people who were creative. And now I find myself in this ridiculous situation where I'm creating all this stuff. And this is actually the most creative time in my life, which is pretty cool.
So fine. And also, knowing there are 2 people, your son and your daughter,
Right.
that are going the way you would like them to go.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
And
life is good.
Here it's written.
Right.
Listen, life is good.
And Wendy's doing good, you know. And I just wish Mom was here, as we always say.
Oh, well.
Because I think Mom would be having the time of her life with this stuff.
Definitely.
Right.
Why? She wouldn't believe it. How come that we're doing?
Oh, she might say, how come we didn't do this years ago?
That's
you know?
right.
And that's a good question.
I know.
But you know why? Because I didn't know about LMC TV years ago. And I used to wonder, you know, when my father-in-law did it back in the 80s and 90s, I had come back from Hollywood. And there was a jealousy aspect of saying, I can't believe he's got a television show. How did he do this? You know, how do you get a television show? How do you get one of these things? I mean, to me, it was like an impossibility, you know? And I'd watch him on TV, and he was good. He'd have unbelievable guests. He had Pete Seeger on the original Way to Go. He had unbelievable guests. And it was all on tape. It wasn't on, you know, it wasn't on these file, you know, the file sequences that, you know, the type of files that we're doing on discs and all this. But you know, it was unimaginable that I could have a television show.
If it never happened, how can you imagine something like this happening?
But the idea, I guess maybe obviously I had the thought in my head that because my father-in-law did it, And that led to me asking the question to Eric, can I do it? So
Well, there's only one way to find out. You try.
that's it.
And
And they make it so easy for you here. I mean, they provide great camera people. They could, the facilities,
that
the
you never
people.
knew, that you never knew that.
Right.
No, that is the whole thing. You never. How do you know?
And I think that's one thing that they try to get out. LMC TV itself tries to get out to the community to make sure that they understand that this is something that is an unbelievable benefit for people who live in this area, and that I'm sure they're always reaching out to get new producers for different shows, and it's an unbelievable. Thank God we moved to Larchmont and Mamaroneck, because. I really don't know what my life would be without LMC TV. I have no idea. Could you imagine not having this show?
No.
I mean, how it changed your life too?
You look at it like day and night.
Right.
First of all, everybody, and I don't even. Hey, Mr. Actor, that where I am,
Right.
it's in Kitay. It's a place called Kitay House.
Right. It's an assisted living facility,
It's
independent.
assisted living, and we live. It's a good community.
Right.
Once I started doing this thing, and I became an
actor. You could say it.
Became an actor.
Right.
Everyone,
I know.
the security people, the people, my friends, and everything.
Not only that. I mean, when we were doing the first season of Scriptless, they got in touch with you about getting you in the Daily News. There was an article about you, about being an actor, being an actor at 99 years old, all this stuff. I mean, the head of the Kitay House, the head of public relations got in touch with you. I mean, and it's all because of this place.
Yeah.
It's all because of LMC TV.
And again, so all of a sudden I'm in with a lady.
Right.
I'm in
Central Park. Not that one.
with the heart. What's the name of the holiday?
Oh, Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day. Yeah.
It's okay. Don't worry about it, Pop. You're 101 years old. Don't worry about it.
On Valentine's Day, they got together, and they said, "We'd like to find anybody going with anybody else."
All right.
So I went. So they found 3 couples, and I still have the paper.
It's still online. You don't even need the paper of you and the lady kissing and hugging, and about people who are 100 years old falling in love, and that's it.
It happens.
I know.
No, really.
It happens to you.
And you wonder why isn't it
Happening for other people.
And it actually, I don't know.
Right.
The people like me, Alan. Right now I think I told you yesterday, open mic.
Right.
Open mic, big deal. I would sing a few songs and everybody would clap. This lady comes over to me, Alan, unbelievable. I saw her every now and then. A nun.
Right.
We have nuns there now.
Right.
And she says, "Look, Max, I would like you to sing a song with me." I said, "Fine, what song?" I said, Solma, it's an Italian song.
Right.
Santa Lucia.
Right.
Fine. So all of a sudden we're singing Santa Lucia. Hey. Not only Santa Lucia, she also had another one, Funiculi Funicula.
Right.
So we went around.
Did you have a good time?
What? Some things the world between them fun and frolic, and so do I.
Did you have a good time?
Unbelievable good time. And yet it was yesterday.
Right.
And what happened? They gave us a hand. We're the only ones. Now remember, I'm not kidding. The only ones who would do a thing like that. Right. We have other people maybe seeing somebody or something or something. So here comes Max with his and
with his partner, the nun. I love it. I love it. That's it.
Love it. I love it. I love it also.
And you've always, Dad, even though, I mean, you were perfect for Scriptless because all your life you were never shy of the spotlight. You were always a person who liked the spotlight.
I said, I'm okay.
Right.
No, really, I'm an optimist.
Right.
We have a teacher there giving yoga.
Right.
I mean, I was all over. I even told her, look, be an optimist.
Right.
But no, everything is, and she's looking at me. The week after that, she said, I want to thank Max for telling me to be, I am an optimist.
And, you know, we were joking on the way here today about being an optimist. And I said, because you asked me, are you an optimist? And, you know, and even Dina, she ribs me a little bit. She says, you should be more like your father and all that. But I say, you know, just living in New York, just going into the subway and going to work, you have to be an optimist because of all the craziness that's happening in the world. To go on a plane, you have to be an optimist because of all the craziness that's going on in the world. To work near the World Trade Center, which I do now, only optimists, or, you know, you have to feel that, you know, things are going to be okay, because otherwise you wouldn't go into the subways, you wouldn't go onto planes because of the way the world is today.
You wouldn't even want to live then. You have to feel like
Right.
things are going to be okay.
You have to step out of your house and you have to do things.
And that's the type, that's me.
Right.
I made up my mind a long time ago.
Right.
And it's, Alan, it's working.
I know. I got to be more like you. Dina tells me that all the time. It's true.
Yeah. And how it happened, and I still tell my people over there,
Right.
my children know more about me than I do. I usually forget.
Yeah, but one thing we do know is that you are the most positive person in the world.
I'm a positive. Well, that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm a positive person.
Right.
I do not say no.
Right.
I mean, there are other words to say besides saying no. No, really.
know.
When I tell that to people, I sit down with them,
Right.
and I say.
But the one thing though, and again, in The Laundryman, which is the movie about your life and about you getting shot and all this stuff, there is a scene from my vantage point as a kid where, you know, I wasn't the greatest kid in the world. I was a brat. I had troubles I was dealing with, and Mom used to see them, but because you were such an optimist and you had rose-colored glasses, you missed those things. You missed it because you couldn't
miss them.
see. Yeah.
They weren't there.
That's what I'm saying. They were invisible to you.
That's right.
And so to a certain extent, being an optimist is a great thing personally. But sometimes it's important also to be realistic or be a realist, because poor Mom, she was stuck with a brat for a son, and you would look at me with you know, like with love in your eyes.
Naturally.
And Mom would look at me like, you're driving me nuts, you know, whatever, you know. So it's interesting, that dynamic, which we're capturing in The Laundryman, by the way. So,
But
yes.
put them all together,
Right.
and whatever, you get a wonderful family.
Right, no, that's it. I mean, the other thing is, you have to look, I mean, life didn't stop when I was 13 years old. I mean, life is a longer journey than that, you know. So do you judge a person for how they were when they were 12? You know, is that really what makes the person, or is that part of the learning experience? Like they have this person who's on trial right now, and he's going to be tried as a minor, and I think he was tried as a minor, only got 6 months for being in a drag race that killed, I think, 6 kids. This is the latest one of the things in the news.
I think I read that today.
And meanwhile, you know, 6 people died. You know, so
And they gave him only a few months.
So the question is, you know, a couple of questions. Things that happened many years ago, are they things that you should be are they things that you should ever feel guilty about, or are they considered learning things that make you a better person and a learning experience? And is there a statute of limitations on things that you did bad in your life, or things that you're beating yourself up? Because you never beat yourself up.
Never.
But people have made, you know, if you made mistakes in your life, is there a point in time when you have to stop beating yourself up about those things? That's the question. But you're not a psychologist, so I can't ask that question to you.
But still, Alan, I wonder about these things.
Yeah.
I'm in a place where they're older people, and
I'm in a place, Pop. I'm in a very bad place. You know why? Because as enjoyable as this is, there's only one thing left to say. That's a wrap. Good night, folks.